So we have a model of Jim here. Once again, I'm using the Ethereum's model, but we should have as kind of ready by now. And it's going to be time to start texturing. If I just go back into object mode here and I expose the original Jim, and let me just go into a material view, should show. We've already got a texture set on our original model. And there's no reason really why we can't reuse this or well, yes, reuse it, but it's not going to come out perfect. But if we get 99% of it onto our model, we're off to a good start. Save us an awful lot of work after. So first of all, I'm just going to do some tidy up. Let me put this back into a solid view. Just so it's easier to see. And we've got a couple of modifiers active here. Let's leave them here for the minute. The one thing I will say is I believe the subdivision modifier is alright, it doesn't really matter. Okay. While we got the model in this stage, it's probably a good idea to do the UV unwrapping and the seaming. More so the seaming. We'll do the UV unwrapping after we apply the mirror modifier. The reason I'm saying do the seaming now is because the model is essentially symmetrical. We only need to unwrap half or put seams on half of it. Why make work for ourselves? So, what's the best way to seam it? Well, I figure for this probably it'd be better to look at what the textures we got at the minute are like and maybe try and follow roughly those. So if I go to the UV image editor here, we should have a Jim textures here. There's an extra one in there, but there isn't to put in, but that's alright. So, if we select one of these, we can see the face there. Let's go full screen. The face isn't the whole head, it is literally the face, and well, I'm guessing it goes a good way up the skull. Let's have a look at the other limbs. Are all on one. It's 2 arms and 2 legs. They seem to be joined down the middle. There's only one seam down the edge of them. You could do 2, it doesn't matter, and the nails and what have you. And if we look at the last one here, the torso, you see the torso comes up. We've got the stomach here, the going into the chest area here. But this seems to go up at the back of the head. So looking back at the head texture, this is probably only going up to halfway across the top of the skull. The other thing is they've put the ears on here. I'm not sure if I'd do that or not. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I've no particular plan for this. It's more just what kind of fits in with the model we got. So I'm going to just join these 2 screens together to go into a full screen. Actually, let's go full screen altogether. Just give us a bit more real estate here. And I've got to decide where I'm going to do kind of scenes and things like that. So I think probably let's start with the arms. So I'm looking for somewhere around here that's going to look reasonable, or reasonable, I suppose. So if I start marking out some scenes here, so if I do over there, let's have a look at the back here. Come under here. Yeah, that's a good route. I'll do a Control E and mark that as a seam. Looking at the arms, so it's going to be one of these 2. I think probably this loop here because it comes in level with the thumb, whereas this one comes way above. So let's start marking this as a seam. Probably from there. Just start to mark out some seams here. So I think here I'm going to come under the thumb as such, because this line, this loop goes over the thumbnail as it were. So let's start going under. Let's use a Shift Alt. That's working out well because it's coming under the line of the thumbnail. So let me grab this one if I can. Where did that come from? Control Z. Yeah, I kind of grabbed the wrong one there. Let's go there. Let's include that one in. Let's go there and there. Make sure we get that one. Let's go there. There, I think probably. It seems more logical. Grab that and that. We will come down in between here, so that's fine. Grab that one, and I'm just looking for the route, like a logical route through to come back up to the top of the arm. Got the wrong one there, so let's grab that and those, and yeah, that's coming straight across here. That looks like it'll be fine, so I'll just do a little circle select here, I think, to come along. And there. Alright, so that's the arm in two halves. The original texture was kind of joined, it only had one seam, but I'm happy enough with two. So Control E to mark that seam. Let's mark it. Right, so we want to split off the torso around the leg, so let's try something around here. So let's go with that. If I do an Alt. Okay. What's happening here is this edge is running in a kind of a spiral. So we're going to have to kind of do something about that differently. So let's start down here. And let's just see one by one where this spiral takes us. So I'm just shift selecting these. And yeah, you can see where it's starting to come and around and up again. So we're going to have to make a little jog here. It's not ideal, but we can work with it. So I'm looking for an area which is probably going to be right here, in kind of like in between the legs where the crotch is. It's not going to be seen there. Not that it should be seen anyway by the time we're finished with this, but that gives us this loop, as it were, with a slight jog down here. But that'll work. So the other reason I'll select this here is because, once again, if I'm doing a split, it's about halfway across the depth of the leg. So I mark that, Control E, mark that as a seam. May as well come down here. Let's if I do a Shift Alt, it's going to select a few up here, so I can just deselect these just to bring it up to that seam. It's going around the leg here. I probably don't want it on the sole. So I'm just thinking now, if I unselect these this way, I may change my mind in a minute, but it's just seeing how this is gonna come together. Any of you who've been into the UV class that we just had, you'll know that there is no actual right or wrong way, but there are good methods and bad methods. Right, so since we're doing the leg front to back, I think the front can carry down over the top of the foot, whereas the back of the leg can carry down under the foot. So I think I'm looking at the toe here, and this once again seems to be a logical point. So I'm just going to shift select my way around here. Let's see where that goes. Yep. And it's probably going to be a bit hard to select a lot of this. Actually, it hasn't worked out too badly. I was thinking about the denseness of the geometry here, But using my Shift Alt Select to pick up some of the loops, it seems to be working quite well. My period key to zoom in on that. Yeah. Okay, those two seem to be joined. But that's alright. We've got something up there. I think the best way to do this is just continue and see what happens. We can always change it after. Okay. Kind of hard to see what's going on. What happens if I go up this way? That's better. Alright. That's actually stopped at a good point there, which is kind of like the halfway of the leg again, although that's gone all the way around up there. We can fix that in a minute. Select these up here. Might be easier with a small circle select. And I'll just use my middle mouse button to unselect this loop here, however that got in there. Got a stray one selected up here for some reason. Use my middle mouse button. There we go. Just a final check around. That looks okay. So I'll Control E, mark that as a seam. So now the face. The original model we were looking at somewhere up here, so let's do a loop select here, see where that leads. That terminates there, that's fine. Just gonna use my numpad period to center in on that. Okay, so I'm gonna follow this line down here, and then I'm gonna come around the ears here. And I want to come probably down to about here, I think. Maybe a bit lower. Let's go to here. Alright, so that's the face isolated without the ears. Control E, mark a seam. Let's cut these ears off. Sounds a bit harsh. What's easily selectable here? That's not so easily selectable, so let's go so from that scene coming down here, then across to there, mark Control E there, and we'll mark that as a seam. Right. Just to check things out, let me do a quick unwrap. It won't be my final unwrap because we've got to add the modifier, the mirror modifier. But just as a quick check, let's go and pull a window down again. let's change this to a UV image editor. Let's select all and let's unwrap. U for unwrap. Okay. Probably some problems on here. Okay. The hands and arms have unwrapped okay. The face is unwrapped okay. It'll change a bit once it's all duplicated up. The ears somewhat okay. We got a problem around the toes somewhere. We can try and work that out in a minute. And it looks like we need to split the torso with a seam somewhere. If we remember the original, the torso is split down the back because your chest area is here, where the belly button is, and then it had a seam down the back. So we can add a seam down the back and try that again, which should basically be this seam anyway. So I suppose what we could do here is where we had those originals marked from that loop, and then just carry on up round. Kind of getting hard to select. Let's try this with a C here now, just to speed it up a little. Okay, C key again. Just need to check that in there. That's what I thought. So let me shift select that one out of it, and let's just mark these final few. Just with shift select, Control E, mark seam. We're still left with this kind of shoulder area, so I'm going to come down from this loop here across the shoulder to the arm. So let me actually, if I show you what I mean here, we're coming down the head, but where this is across the top of the shoulder, it's condensing all this geometry here, so that's what we need to work on. So let's try that again. So let's do a circle select here. Just select this line here, Control E, and mark that as a seam. Okay, so if I got all these again and I unwrap, right, that's got the body looking a lot better. I need to do something similar around the legs, around the bottom of the legs. I thought I did. That's going to be on the inside of the leg. I thought I did that actually. No, I didn't. You see, my scene kind of stops there. So, Control E, mark that as a seam, select all again, Control U to unwrap, U to unwrap, not Control U, and let's go full screen again. Yeah, that's spread out a lot more the way I was expecting, and ears are there, half the face is there, but once we get the mirror modifier on, that'll look a lot better. The top of the hands is looking fine, the bottom's a bit spread out, but that'll be fine. All we've got to do is sort out this issue with the toes, and I'm trying to find out where that join issue is, and it's somewhere around there, which looks to be around about the third toe. Alright, let's have a better look down here. Let's unselect all. So we've got a... Let's grab select vertex here to enable us to focus in. So we can see it comes around a big toe, okay. In just a second. The issue seems to be here. These toes are joined. And in here it seems to be an issue. Tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to start hiding some faces. So let me hide a few of these. So I want to be able to see where my seam lines are running. So I'll select these faces. Let's hide. Okay, so that seam does seem to be consistent. Okay, so the issue is probably in here. That seems to be consistent as well. Let me just hide these couple of faces. No, it's not. This seam is breaking here. It stops here. And it's not joining up with this seam here. So, let's go to vertex mode. Let's select that. And shift select our way up. To there. Not to there. To there. Well, we need that one. But I was also looking for this one. Not letting me select that. Let me come around, maybe because I'm kind of inside the model. There we go. Control E to mark that seam there. And that just leaves us this issue here, where these toes are kind of joined. Alright, let's unhide these. And let's start hiding some faces up here, see what's going on. So, face select mode. Let's hide these. Well, let's not hide those for a minute, but certainly let's hide these. If we can see. Yeah, see, these toes are definitely joined here. But you know what, I think we might be able to work with that. We're not going to be animating toes, so let's Alt H. Let's select all again and unwrap, because we fixed this seam problem in one of these two, I can't remember which one. So let's U for unwrap. And let's have a look now. Our legs have straightened out. You can see the toe issue there, but we're getting the two halves of the legs, the two halves of the arm. We've got the torso, the ear, and the face. So that's looking okay for now. Let me just add a new texture there. Just so we're not looking at different textures on the wrong UVs. Right, okay, so that's that seamed. Let's get rid of this texture editor for the minute. Right, so let's go back to object mode. So we got that. I'm just going to do some housekeeping up here now. So first of all, this topo guide that was here, I believe it's on layer 2, is it? Yeah, it is. So let me, there it is. Just going to delete that out of it. Right, so that's gone. So we've got Jim and the plane. The plane will be the retopo Jim. So let's just call that retopo. Right, come back to layer 1. And let's make Jim visible. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select Jim. Just make sure that is him selected, but we can see that here. And I'm going to make a copy of him and move him to another layer, just in case we need him later. Because what's going to happen is we're going to use the baking selected to active, which means resizing the model, which means changing the geometry and the scale, and I want an original copy. So with him selecting, I'm going to go Shift D, and enter, and then I'm going to press my M key to move that to layer 20. Okay, so I should have a Jim copy here, Jim001. Let's just call him Jim copy. Okay, and if I come across to layer 20, he should be on there. That's fine. So we can kind of forget about him for the moment. He should be all textured, same material and everything. And he is, that's fine. Right. And back to layer 1. So with my Jim on layer 1 selected, I can now hide him. I can either press the H key, or I could have, let's unhide, or I can turn off the eyeball icon there. So that leaves us with our retopoed and our modifiers. Now let's have a look at what modifiers we've got here. We got a shrink wrap, a mirror, and a subsurf. We don't want to apply the subsurf because that'll add more geometry. But it gave us a better visual indication when we was modeling. Right, so the shrink wrap we can apply. Why are we not seeing the mirror? There we go. Let's turn all these modifiers visible. Right, so the shrink wrap we can apply, the mirror we can apply, and the subsurf we can delete. Right, now we go into edit mode. We see we've got our Jim, and we can see that our UV seams are symmetrical. They've gone both sides of the body. So now if we select all, and well, actually let's open up a texture window again so we can see what's going on. UV image editor, we select all, and now if we unwrap, we're getting all the parts of Jim's body. This is all on one texture space. We may want to do other materials to increase the texture space, but for now we've got this unwrap which is working pretty well.